July 7, 1943. Southern shoulder of the Kursk salient, near the village of Prokhorovka. Dawn does not arrive gently here. It comes with the sound of engines coughing awake, with the metallic clatter of track links being tensioned, with the low, distant thunder of artillery rolling across the steppe like an approaching storm. Inside the cramped steel hull of a T-34 model 1942, Sergeant Ivan Petrovich Sokolov grips the edge of the turret ring as the tank lurches forward. Diesel fumes mix with sweat and cordite, coating the back of his throat. The interior is dim, painted a dull, chipped white meant to reflect light, but it does little to push back the shadows. "Forward, keep interval," crackles a voice through the throat mic. Battalion command. Calm. Too calm. The tank's V2 diesel engine roars louder as the driver, Private Mikhail Orlov, feeds it more throttle. The ground vibrates beneath them. Outside, the steppe grass bends and flattens under dozens, no hundreds, of advancing Soviet tanks. Steel wedges moving east to west, straight into the jaws of Army Group South. Sokolov wipes condensation from his periscope and peers out. Smoke columns already rise on the horizon. Black, oily plumes twisting into the morning sky. Somewhere ahead, German artillery has begun its work. "Germans will be waiting," mutters Yefreitor Alexei Morozov, the gunner, his eye pressed to the TMFD-7 telescopic sight. He sounds almost bored, but his knuckles are white around the handwheels. Sokolov doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. Everyone in the crew knows this moment has been coming for months. Kursk is no surprise. For weeks, Soviet intelligence has warned of a massive German offensive, Operation Citadel. Reconnaissance aircraft. Intercepted radio traffic. Prisoners who talk too much. The Red Army has answered by digging in, mining fields, stacking guns wheel to wheel, and massing armor in depths never seen before. This tank crew has trained for this. Rehearsed it. Dreamed it. Feared it. Now the ground ahead erupts. A shell lands short, throwing up a geyser of earth and smoke. The shockwave slams into the hull like a giant fist. The T-34 rocks violently. Artillery's walking. Orlov shouts. "Maintain speed." Sokolov snaps back. "Don't bunch up." Another explosion. Closer. Shrapnel rattles against the armor like handfuls of gravel. The column surges forward anyway. Through the periscope, Sokolov finally sees them. German tanks, Panzer IVs, long-barreled, gray silhouettes emerging from the haze. Beyond them, lower, heavier shapes. Tigers. The word itself tightens his chest. Target 11 o'clock, Panzer IV. Morozov shouts. "Fire when ready." The 76.2 mm F-34 gun barks. The tank jolts backward as the shell leaves the barrel. A second later, the Panzer IV blooms into flame, turret hatch bursting open as smoke pours out. "Hit." Morozov yells, a grin breaking through the tension. "Load he." Sokolov orders. Infantry behind the tanks. The loader, Private Nikolai Fedorenko, moves with practiced speed, swinging another shell from the rack, muscles straining in the cramped space. Sweat drips from his chin onto the steel floor. Another shot. Another explosion. German infantry scatter, some diving, some running, some simply disappearing in the blast. But the Germans are firing back now. A Panzer IV's round slams into the dirt just meters away, showering the T-34 with soil and stones. A second shot screams past, close enough that everyone inside flinches. Range 600. Morozov calls. Adjusting. The T-34 fires again. And again. Minutes blur together. Commands. Impacts. Smoke. The tank shudders repeatedly as near misses pound the ground. Inside, the noise is constant. Engine roar, gun blast, shouted orders, the ringing echo of steel struck by shockwaves. Then, "Loader." Morozov shouts. AP. Fedorenko hesitates. There is a pause. A fraction of a second too long. Loader. Sokolov snaps, turning in the turret. Fedorenko stares at the open rack. Empty slots. Bare metal. His face has gone pale beneath the grime. "Comrade Sergeant," he says quietly, almost apologetically. That was the last armor-piercing shell. The words hang in the air, heavier than any explosion outside. Another German tank appears through the smoke, advancing steadily, gun already traversing toward them. Sokolov feels his pulse hammer in his ears. "How many he asks. Fedorenko swallows. 1, maybe 2. The realization hits like a cold wave. Around them, the battle only intensifies. And the T-34 keeps rolling forward, into a fight it may no longer be able to shoot its way out of. July 7, 1943. Prokhorovka sector. Minutes later. The T-34 surges forward through drifting smoke, its engine screaming as Orlov pushes it hard across the churn step. Inside the turret, the breech of the F-34 gun hangs open, gaping, metallic, accusingly empty. "High explosive only," Sokolov says at last, forcing calm into his voice. "Save it." Morozov nods, though his jaw tightens. His shells can shred infantry, knock out anti-tank guns, even damage tracks if luck is kind. But against the frontal armor of a Panzer IV, or worse, a Tiger, they are little more than noise and flame. Another German tank crests a shallow rise ahead, sun glinting off its long barrel. Panzer IV, 400 meters. Morozov calls. "Fire he. Aim for running gear," Sokolov orders. Fedorenko slams the shell home. The breech closes with a solid clang. The gun fires. The shell detonates beneath the Panzer's hull, throwing up dirt and smoke. The German tank lurches, but keeps moving. "Didn't stop him," Morozov growls. The Panzer's turret rotates toward them. "Driver, zigzag." Sokolov shouts. Orlov yanks the levers. The T-34 swerves just as a German round slams into the ground where they had been seconds earlier. The concussion batters the hull, knocking Sokolov's helmet askew. Another German tank appears. Then another. Last he. Fedorenko warns. Sokolov's mind races. Pull back. The field behind them is chaos. Burning tanks, wrecks blocking retreat routes, German fire sweeping the ground. The radio crackles with overlapping voices, units shouting for support, reports dissolving into static and panic. "No retreat," battalion command barks through the headset. "Hold pressure, close distance." Close distance. Sokolov understands what that means. He looks at his crew, faces smeared with oil and soot, eyes wide but steady. These men trust him. He can feel it in the silence between commands. "Fire the last he says. Then we'll see." The shell fires. It bursts near a German infantry cluster, scattering bodies and smoke. The breach opens again. Empty. Fedorenko doesn't say it this time. He doesn't have to. A Tiger tank looms ahead now, unmistakable. Boxy turret, thick armor, moving with deliberate confidence. Its gun swings toward them like the slow turning of fate. "Tiger," Morozov whispers. The range is closing fast. Too fast. Sokolov feels a strange clarity settle over him. Training manuals, political lectures, slogans about sacrifice, all of it falls away. There is only this steel box, this moment, this choice. "Driver," he says quietly, "can you accelerate?" Orlov glances back, eyes wide. "Yes, but—" Straight at him. The words land hard. Morozov turns sharply. "Ramming." Sokolov nods once. In the Red Army, it is not unheard of. Terran the ram. Desperation made doctrine. A lighter tank fast enough, angled just right, can cripple a heavier enemy, break a track, damage the engine, even immobilize a Tiger long enough for artillery or other tanks to finish it, or die trying. Angle left, Sokolov orders. We hit his side, behind the drive wheel. Orlov's hands tremble as he grips the controls, but he does it. The engine howls as the T-34 picks up speed, bouncing violently over shell craters. The Tiger fires. The shot whistles past, missing by meters. The shockwave rocks the T-34, but momentum carries them forward. Inside the turret, everything shakes. Loose casings rattle across the floor. Fedorenko braces himself against the hull, teeth clenched. Closer, closer. Morozov mutters, tracking the massive German tank through his sight, even though there is nothing left to fire. The Tiger's turret begins to traverse again. Now. Sokolov roars. Orlov slams the throttle to its limit. The T-34 lunges. Impact comes like a train collision. Steel screams as the Soviet tank slams into the Tiger's side. The jolt throws Sokolov against the turret wall. Morozov's head snaps forward, helmet cracking against the sight. Fedorenko is knocked off his feet, crashing into the ammunition rack with a grunt. The world becomes noise and pain. Outside, the Tiger shudders violently. Its track snaps, links flying free as the suspension collapses. The German tank slews sideways, grinding to a halt in a cloud of dust and smoke. Inside the T-34, alarms do not exist, but everyone knows something is wrong. The engine sputters, coughing, then dies. Steam hisses somewhere below. Engine's gone. Orlov shouts. We're immobilized. Sokolov pushes himself upright, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. Through the periscope he sees the Tiger, disabled but not dead. Its turret still moves, slowly, angrily, searching for them. They have bought seconds, maybe minutes. Around them the battle rages on, Soviet tanks charging past, German guns firing relentlessly. The field is a furnace of steel and smoke. Sokolov grabs the intercom. All crew, he says, voice steady despite the chaos, prepare to abandon tank. The Tiger's gun aligns. Time runs out. July 7, 1943. Prokhorovka. Seconds later. The Tiger's gun finishes its slow, deliberate swing. Sokolov doesn't shout. He doesn't panic. He has no breath left for either. Out now. The command cuts through the cramped interior like a blade. Fedorenko is already moving, scrambling for the turret hatch with bruised hands. Morozov fumbles with the locking handle, fingers slick with blood and sweat. Orlov kicks his hatch open from below, sunlight flooding the driver's compartment in a blinding white flash. A German shell detonates nearby, close enough that the shockwave lifts the disabled T-34 and slams it back down. Dirt and fragments rain across the hull. The Tiger is firing again, either at them or at another target in the chaos. There's no time to wonder which. Sokolov shoves Morozov upward. Go. Morozov climbs out first, dropping hard onto the churned earth, rolling instinctively as machine gun fire snaps overhead. Fedorenko follows, tumbling out and scrambling toward a shallow crater a few meters away. Sokolov emerges last, pulling himself free of the turret just as flames lick out from the engine deck below. The smell of burning oil fills the air. The four men hit the ground running. Behind them, their T-34 burns, smoke pouring from the engine compartment, ammunition racks mercifully empty. The tank that had carried them through the morning is now a blackened, lifeless shell. They dive into a shell crater together, bodies pressed against the earth as German machine gun fire chews the air above. For a moment, none of them speak. Their ears ring. Their chests heave. The battlefield roars around them. Engines, artillery, shouting men, the shriek of steel on steel. Then Morozov laughs. It's short, sharp, almost hysterical. We rammed a Tiger, he says, disbelief and pride tangled in his voice. Fedorenko wipes his face with a shaking hand. And lived. Sokolov risks a look over the crater's edge. The Tiger they struck sits immobile, track shredded, smoke seeping from damaged fittings. Its turret still moves, gun firing at passing Soviet tanks. It is wounded, but dangerous. And now, exposed infantry shapes move around it. German Panzer grenadiers, fanning out with rifles and submachine guns, using the disabled Tiger as cover. Sokolov's stomach tightens. "We're not done," he says. Each man checks his weapon. Sokolov has a TT-33 pistol, one spare magazine. Morozov carries a PPSH-41, drum half full. Fedorenko grips a Mosin Nagant bayonet fixed. Orlov clutches a single F-1 fragmentation grenade. They are tankers, but now they fight as infantry. "Follow me," Sokolov says, already moving. They sprint from crater to crater, staying low as bullets snap overhead. The ground is littered with wreckage, burning tanks, torn bodies, scattered equipment. A Soviet Su-76 roars past, firing point-blank into a cluster of German infantry. The disabled Tiger fires again. The blast shakes the earth. Sokolov sees an opportunity. The German crew is focused forward, buttoned up, engaging Soviet armor. The infantry around them are spread thin, distracted by the chaos. "Grenade," Sokolov whispers to Orlov. "When I say." They crawl closer, heartbeats pounding. 20 meters. 15. A German soldier spots them. "Russin," he shouts, raising his rifle. Morozov opens up with the PPSH. The drum rattles violently, a storm of bullets cutting the man down and forcing others to dive for cover. "Now," Sokolov yells. Orlov pulls the pin and hurls the grenade with all his strength. It arcs through the smoke and lands near the Tiger's damaged track. The explosion is sharp and brutal. Shrapnel tears into the exposed suspension, and the infantry clustered nearby. Sokolov doesn't wait. "Move." They rush the tank. Up close, the Tiger is monstrous, armor plates towering over them, engine still rumbling weakly. Smoke pours from the damaged side. The crew inside knows infantry are near now. The turret jerks, trying to bring its machine gun to bear. Fedorenko slams his rifle butt against the hull. Here. An open engine access hatch, warped by the ram. Sokolov fires his pistol into the opening, emptying the magazine blindly. Morozov tosses another grenade inside. There is a muffled explosion. A scream. Then silence. Flames burst from the hatch, black smoke billowing skyward. They fall back, collapsing behind the Tiger's bulk as it finally dies, engine coughing once, then stopping for good. The battlefield does not pause to acknowledge their victory. Around them, the clash at Prokhorovka reaches its terrible peak. Tanks collide at near point-blank range. Soviet and German vehicles burn side by side, wrecks forming walls of steel across the steppe. Sokolov looks at his men, exhausted, bloodied, alive. Their tank is gone. Their ammunition is nearly gone. But the fight is not. From the smoke, another German tank emerges. And somewhere behind them, Soviet whistles blow, infantry charging forward. Sokolov stands, raises his pistol and points ahead. "Comrades," he says, voice hoarse but unbroken, "we keep moving." They run forward into the fire, swallowed again by smoke and noise. July 7, 1943. Prokhorovka. Late morning. The smoke thickens as they advance, turning the battlefield into a shifting maze of shadow and flame. Sokolov runs bent low, boots slipping in churned mud and oil-slick earth. The noise is constant now. No single explosion stands out. It is one continuous roar, like the inside of a foundry collapsing. A Soviet infantry wave surges past them, men shouting hoarsely, bayonets fixed, faces drawn tight with fear and fury. Political officers wave pistols and red flags, screaming encouragement that is almost lost in the din. Forward, for the motherland. Sokolov grabs one of them by the sleeve. "Anti-tank guns, where?" The officer points vaguely ahead, eyes wild. "Knocked out, Tigers everywhere." That matches what Sokolov sees. German armor pushes through the smoke in small groups now, not neat formations. Panzer IVs, Stu-GIIs and more Tigers, advancing cautiously, guns blazing at muzzle flash range. The battle has collapsed into something primitive and brutal. Morozov fires short bursts from the PPSH, cutting down a pair of German infantry scrambling between wrecks. Fedorenko works the bolt of his Mosin with mechanical calm, each shot deliberate, counted. They reach the burned-out husk of a Soviet tank, another T-34, turret blown clean off. Sokolov motions them into cover behind it. "Ammo check," he says. Morozov slaps the PPSH drum. "Maybe 20 rounds. Fedorenko peers into his pouch. 4 clips. Orlov shakes his head. "Nothing." Sokolov nods. He expected as much. A German tank engine growls close, too close. Through the smoke, a Panzer IV lumbers into view, its side armor exposed as it fires at something beyond them. Sokolov's eyes lock onto it. No grenades left. No anti-tank rifles. No guns capable of punching through armor. Only bodies, speed, and nerve. "Track it," Sokolov says quietly. They move without hesitation. Morozov sprints first, firing wildly at the panzers escorting infantry. Fedorenko follows, bayonet gleaming dully. Sokolov and Orlov trail close behind, using the tank wrecks as cover. The Panzer IV fires again, recoil rocking its hull. The crew inside has no idea Soviet tankers are rushing them on foot. They reach the rear quarter of the German tank. Fedorenko leaps onto the hull, slamming his bayonet into a vision slit. The blade snaps, but it does the job. Inside, someone screams. Morozov empties the last of his PPSH drum into the engine grating. Sokolov climbs up after them, pounding the turret with his pistol, shouting in Russian and broken German, anything to confuse, to distract. The Panzer shudders. Smoke belches from the rear. Then the turret hatch flies open. A German crewman claws his way out, face blackened, eyes wide with terror. Orlov tackles him instantly, driving both of them off the hull and into the dirt. The struggle is brief, violent, and silent. The Panzer IV burns. Sokolov drops to his knees beside the wreck, chest heaving. His hands shake now. Adrenaline bleeds away, leaving only exhaustion and a dull ache that seems to fill his bones. He looks around. The battlefield has shifted. Soviet forces are pressing forward here, barely, but forward. German tanks withdraw in short bounds, firing as they go. The ground between is a graveyard of steel. A Red Army lieutenant approaches, helmet dented, uniform torn. "You," he barks. "Tank crew." "Was," Sokolov answers. The lieutenant eyes them quickly. "Good, we need men, follow." They fall in without argument. As they move, Sokolov passes the wreck of their own T-34. Flames still lick from its hull, paint blistered, tracks twisted and useless. He slows for half a second. He reaches out and touches the scorched armor. Then he moves on. By afternoon, the heat becomes unbearable. Smoke blots out the sun. The air tastes like metal. The battle grinds on with no clear edge, only momentum paid for in blood. Sokolov fires his pistol until it clicks empty. Morozov scavenges ammunition from the fallen. Fedorenko picks up another rifle. They fight as long as they can, until bodies refuse to rise, until voices crack and fail, until the day itself seems exhausted. As evening approaches, the German attacks finally falter in this sector. The field falls into a tense, broken quiet punctuated by distant gunfire and the crackle of burning wrecks. Sokolov slumps against the side of a destroyed Stu-G, staring at the horizon. They have survived without shells, without a tank, by inches and instinct. Around them, Kursk still burns, but the line here at least holds. July 7, 1943. Prokhorovka. Early evening. The firing does not stop all at once. It fades unevenly, like a dying engine sputtering on its last turns. A burst of machine gun fire here. A single tank shot there. Then long stretches of uneasy quiet, broken only by the crackle of burning fuel and the distant cries of wounded men. Sokolov sits with his back against twisted armor plating, helmet resting in his lap. His ears ring so badly that the world feels underwater. When he finally looks down, he realizes his hands are blackened with soot and someone else's blood. He doesn't remember when it happened. Morozov drops beside him, breathing hard. He holds a captured MP-40, fingers trembling slightly as he checks the magazine. German ammo, he mutters. Figures. Fedorenko lowers himself more carefully. His face has aged years since dawn, eyes hollow, jaw clenched tight. Orlov doesn't sit at all. He stands, scanning the smoke, as if expecting the battle to resume at any second. None of them trust the silence. A Soviet runner appears through the haze, boots splashed with mud and oil. Orders, he pants. Hold position, armor regrouping behind the ridge. Sokolov nods slowly. Hold. That word again. The runner hesitates, then adds, "You did well today." Then he's gone. Sokolov watches the smoke drift across the steppe, illuminated orange by burning wrecks. German tanks lie scattered ahead, some destroyed, some merely abandoned. Soviet tanks lie among them, often closer than doctrine would ever allow. The battlefield smells of scorched steel and hot earth. This is what Kursk has become. Not maneuver. Not elegance. Collision. Nearby, a disabled tiger sits half-buried in churned soil, blackened and silent. Sokolov recognizes it instantly, the one they rammed. He stares at it for a long moment. That tank should have killed them. Instead, it is dead. Morozov follows his gaze. They'll write about this, he says quietly. Sokolov shakes his head. No. He knows how reports are written, how victories are simplified, how details like empty ammunition racks and desperate rams disappear into phrases like the enemy attack was repelled. No one will record the moment when a loader stared at bare steel and understood there was nothing left to fire. No one will describe the sound a tiger makes when its track snaps under impact. No one will list the names of 4 tankers who finished the day as infantry because their tank had become a coffin. As dusk settles, medics begin moving forward. The wounded are carried back. The dead are left where they fell for now. A chaplain murmurs prayers over a cluster of bodies near a burned-out Panzer. Sokolov rises slowly, joints stiff, muscles screaming in protest. He looks at his crew, his men. "We're still together," he says. It's not an order. It's a statement of fact. One that feels fragile. They nod. Behind them, Soviet tanks begin rolling forward again, engines rumbling low and steady. Fresh crews. Full ammunition racks. The battle will resume tomorrow. And the day after that. But today has been survived. As darkness creeps across the Prokhorovka fields, Sokolov allows himself one final glance back at the wreckage, at the place where steel ran out and resolve took its place. He does not smile. He simply tightens his grip on his helmet and walks toward the gathering night, one of countless men who learned at Kursk that sometimes the gun falls silent, but the fight does not.